All right, before we get started, I have one question for you.
What? Lay it on me.
Can you please give us an update on the man that Daisy saw in her room? Are you okay? I've been so worried about you guys.
No, I mean, listen, the other morning I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I heard what I thought of was like...
You say like a scratching. I'm going to lose my mind, like scratching on the wall or tap on the window.
I don't know. I swear to God, the other morning I woke up and I heard talking like on the street outside. I swear to God. But I only heard it through the baby monitor.
Oh my God.
It was one of those things where in the moment I was like half asleep and I was like, oh, it's outside. And then like later in the morning I was like, we're haunted! Hi, Gillian Pensavalle.
Hello, Patrick Hines.
Welcome back to episode 2, you guys.
True crime obsessed.
And we are.
And we so are.
Girl, what are we talking about today?
Oh, man, we are talking about Catfish, which I know like some people might say that's not true crime, but here's why we think it is.
Yeah.
Because it was the first little foray into these kinds of situations that are really happening all the time now and have led to true crime situations, murders, kidnappings, whatever.
Plus, it's just like creepy and weird, and we're going to cover that stuff on this podcast.
Totally creepy and weird.
Megan is a dancer. She sings.
Her sister is an artist.
This is the painting of Angela that she did.
That's the mom?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
She's hot.
The Facebook family. Well, that's what we'll call them. I really cared about this girl. I've had a real conversation with her.
So you're full on going out?
I guess I don't know that much about her. I don't really want her getting hurt. I'm not getting hurt.
So what's the next move?
I think we drive up to Megan's farm in Michigan.
This is it. This is it. Just pull up.
You want to drive into the driveway?
Yeah. Are you crazy?
What do you mean?
Drive into the driveway.
What do you mean?
Don't back into it.
Why not?
Because then we can't see what's in front of us.
I'm a little scared.
This place gives me the creeps.
Let's go.
It's so funny. I was watching. So, okay, this documentary came out in 2010. It's events that happened like in 2008. And I was thinking today that like it was such a simpler time then. You know what I mean? I was like, at this day and age, you know, if something like this, like, and maybe because of a documentary like Catfish, we would be. You would second guess everything.
Everything. And now, like, they have just made this into a television show, by the way,
right,
which
exactly.
was not what we're talking about.
No.
So sorry, Max. You might get your own episode one of these days. But we will not be talking about the silver fox that is Max.
No, we're just going to talk about the hairy monster that is Nev Schulman.
Oh, my God.
Okay, can I read my paragraph?
Yes, read your paragraph.
All right.
Oh, my God, there's so much to say.
Okay, so Catfish is a 2010 documentary by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, which follows Nev, a New York City-based photographer, as he falls in love via Facebook with a young woman in Michigan named Megan. Megan and Nev met because Abby, Megan's 8-year-old sister, an aspiring painter, had been painting some of Nev's photographs. Megan and Abby's mother is Angela. She's also in contact with Nev. As the relationship with Megan seems to be developing via Facebook and phone calls and texts, Nev tries to arrange to meet Megan in real life. And then the documentary takes a shocking turn. An actual shocking turn.
Turn.
As Nev and the filmmakers start to piece together the fact that Megan, Abby, and Angela may not all be who they say they are or even exist at all. When Nev and the filmmakers surprise the family by showing up unannounced at their home, it's discovered that Angela, Megan and Abby's mother, is behind the entire thing. There's no Megan. Abby is not a painter. Rather, Angela is a lonely but dutiful wife and mother who is also, it seems, a pathological liar. But not a monster. I wrote that last sentence, and I feel like we need to say that over and over and over again. Like, we'll get to it, but like she's doing God's work in some ways.
In some ways, yes, you have to be a certain type of person to
be living the life that she's living out there in Michigan.
Yes, I wish she would stop laughing when she's
like catfishing hot young hairy guys.
When she's called out for these things that she's doing.
Yeah,
there are so many little twists and turns in this.
Well, let's start at the beginning because I was thinking, you know, in the beginning you see Nev. Nev like shares an office building with his brother Ariel and this guy Henry Joost, and it opens with you see Nev, who's a photographer, and you come to learn that he's like really passionate about dance and ballet, and he's a photographer, and he's really good at it. And you see him opening these packages, and you come to find out that they're from this like 8-year-old girl that's been painting his photos, and it starts out really sweet.
Today is April 9th, 2008, and I'm about to open I think the third or fourth box package that Angela, Abby's mom, has sent me. Let's see what we got. I'm excited.
What are you expecting?
I mean, I know there's a couple pastel drawings that I really like that I've seen already, but I think there's also some pictures or paintings that I haven't seen.
Meanwhile, there's like that super annoyed assistant in the background of every shot who's just trying to sort the mail.
Who's like, wait, so an 8-year-old sent you this? Like I feel like from the moment they got the first package, she was like, you fellas have fun with this.
Because I got some questions.
This wild goose chase.
I'll be over here annoyed and sorting the mail.
And actually doing work. Because someone's got to keep the freaking lights on in this place, and it's going to be me.
And it's actually a beautiful drawing.
Yeah, it is.
It starts out like, wow, you see him like corresponding with Abby, and it's just a really kind of adorable. And you learn like right away that Abby's mom is also involved, so it's not creepy.
Yeah, like the reason Nev is talking to Angela on the phone is that she's getting the address and she's doing what a grown-up would do.
Like a mother.
So an 8-year-old can send her drawings to this person that she's just a fan of.
By the way, the drawings come in boxes full of
Paper towels?
I was told that they used paper towel pack. Now we've got not some, but tons of paper towels.
They're not taking it out of the plastic and like padding them. They're using the actual wrapped paper towels in the plastic as the padding.
Yeah, exactly. So it sort of just develops from there. You know, like you see, it's interesting because, you know, if you do any research on this movie, you come to find out that there is some question about like how authentic it is as a documentary, like how, you know, how much did Nev and the filmmakers know? When did they actually really know it? As it's unfolding and you see it unfolding, I think it's pretty clear that it is as it's presented. But in the beginning, it is kind of, you know, like you kind of like, why is this being filmed? Like he's just like struck up a friendship with like a little 8-year-old girl, and it's really sweet that, and you know, these paintings aren't masterpieces. It's not like, they're probably a little bit better than an 8-year-old would paint, but they're not like masterpieces. So like, what is interesting about that is my question. Why are they filming it?
And I think, yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. But there's also that part of it that lends it to it being real because they are childlike paintings.
Yeah.
They look like a kid made them. So why would you, in 2008, remember, why would you think like this 8-year-old is conning me?
Oh, of course.
That
of
wouldn't,
course.
I mean, because they are childlike and she writes emails or he receives emails from signed as Abby and he reads them and they are like what a little kid could write, which is then, now that you think about it, like Angela is sort of a genius at becoming these other characters.
This is an email from Abby that I got today. My snake Zoe died today. I didn't even know she had a snake. I kind of thought she was sick since Sunday, and this morning she was almost dead. By the time I got back from school, she was really dead. She didn't eat her last meal, so now I have a pet mouse named Max. He's super cute.
It's kind of psychotic. Like it is
sure.
As that develops later in the film, it is kind of like, oh my God. But so the film sort of takes off with like, you're seeing all of these like connections. So you see Nev discovering that Abby has an older sister named Megan, and he's becoming Facebook friends with all these people. Also, Facebook was kind of new in 2008 to like the general population.
It was only like a few years old, really,
totally.
at that point.
So like you're seeing him sort of like discovering like, oh my God, Abby's mom is really hot. That's Angela. And she has a sister named Megan who's about my age, and she's also really hot.
Yeah.
And the story that develops as like Nev is getting to know this family is, if you think about it, like they own a horse farm and they're all musicians and painters.
They're musicians and painters and models and veterinarians and there's like 16 zillion things each. Alex, the brother, is also a music producer and a vocalist and a this, and he has a band and he owns a surf shop in Michigan.
So many of these things would be so easily verifiable, and I really think that Nev is just a hot dummy and just doesn't do it. Like,
and Yeah.
And there's no reason to do it, and so like you see this relationship developing, and what we as an audience are starting to understand is that his brother and Henry are like, this is interesting, we're gonna make a documentary about like you're falling in love with this girl via like Facebook, and like this is an unusual circumstance. And then I think like one of the first really creepy things that happens is when we hear Megan's voice for the first time.
Okay, I just got chills.
Yeah.
You saying that.
Yeah, because you see him talking to Angela, the mom, a lot, and they're not sophisticated filmmakers in that like they don't have it like set up to record. Like Nev is literally holding the phone to the camera as they're talking.
Right.
Hey, Megan?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Nev.
Hi, how are you?
When you hear her voice, it's very like
It's whisper. It's someone scared of being caught. It's
Yes.
this whispery, and he even says, "You don't sound anything like I thought you would."
Your voice is not at all what I expected.
and she like apologizes.
She's like, "Sorry.
No, it's
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, Mom, is that
But
you?"
meanwhile, you're seeing these like pictures of her being flashed up on the screen, and you're like, "Oh my God, she's like so beautiful, and she seems so interesting. She's obviously into photography."
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, the major turning point in the movie comes. Nev and the filmmaker boys get hired to like go do a dance video in Colorado for the Colorado Dance Festival or whatever, which is the thing apparently.
Yeah.
So Nev calls Megan and like leaves her a voicemail.
Hey, Megan, Nev, 6 o'clock Sunday. I'm leaving tomorrow for Vail. I don't know what your schedule's like for the next 2 weeks, but Rel and Henry and I are going to be out there till the 9th for the Vail Dance Festival. So, I don't know, but maybe you and your mom and Abby and Joelle should come out for a weekend.
They've been talking for months and months and months, like 9 months at this point, and they've never met. And we never see her response, but we see that she doesn't come.
Right. Which is like, as we know from seasons and seasons of Catfish, that's red flag number one.
Yeah,
exactly. And why haven't you video chatted?
Was that a thing in 2008?
I don't know, but I think it had to. It was one of those like little round things that you put on top of the computer.
Yeah, like a webcam.
Yeah, webcam.
Oh my God, Nev.
All
right, so explain what happens in Colorado.
So they're in Colorado, and it's the three of them, and Megan is taking requests for covers because she's a musician.
To Nev and his friends.
Yeah.
Megan's taking requests, and she'll record a song right now.
Via GChat, she's taking requests from Nev. What do you want me to cover? So then they start giving her like songs with horses in it because she has all these horses also because she's also a veterinarian and also a model and a musician and a singer and a recording artist and a painter.
Silver Stallion?
Any other horse songs that we can think of? Tennessee Stud.
Yeah.
So then they request this song, Tennessee Stud. She sends it back in 20 minutes.
Ooh, she sings. It's good.
Oh, that's really good.
And they're like, this is super hot.
As in, like, she
sounds
recorded it.
amazing.
She sends it back as though she recorded it.
Yeah, like, I did this for you. And it is sort of like a stripped down version. Then they find out, they like Google it, and they start looking. They're like, how did she do this in 20 minutes? This is good, but like, how does this happen?
It's the first time there's any inkling of like, wait, what's happening?
Like, how did she do this in 20 minutes?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So then they start Googling her other songs. Now, these other songs are on this website that Angela has, and Angela is crediting them. So it's like this one song, It's All Downhill From Here, sung by Angela and Megan, produced by Alex. So they're giving credit. Nev is complimenting them on these songs. Your vocals sound so amazing. So they Google It's All Downhill From Here because it's like all three of their favorite song of Megan. It's like, you guys, get it together. And it turns out that It's All Downhill From Here was on the One Tree Hill soundtrack.
Right. Like this version of it.
Like this version of it.
Yeah.
And then here's where it starts to like, you actually see the wheels turning and like the horror sinking in because they are playing them side by side now.
I mean, is this not the exact same recording?
And Nev's like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the same one. And before that, I think Rel, his brother Ariel, but they call him Rel.
Which is the most annoying nickname. Come on. Be
Just
Ari. And Ariel's a great name. Rel.
Rel, I know.
Knock it off.
Rel.
And they're so gorgeous that, of course, they have like the most annoying nicknames.
They can't be perfect, Patrick.
Exactly.
So, and then, but Rel is saying like, oh, so she sent a cover. Like, people have whole careers based on covers. But then when they realize, like, no, she's just ripping songs off YouTube.
Yeah.
And sending them these things. And then Nev calls her out.
Via GChat.
Do you have an explanation for why they sound so similar? It's a cover song. They're supposed to sound similar.
And she gets super mad.
Yeah.
Really defensive. Turns it around. Like, completely typical.
Yeah.
Toxic relationship behavior.
Totally.
I'm just like, I'm super upset that you would even think that about me right now. Meanwhile, it's like 45-year-old Angela on the other side of the computer.
With like a braid down to her knees.
Right. So then they start Googling everything else. Abby supposedly had this big gallery opening.
So Abby again is like the 8-year-old who
Right.
is like, according to the mom, is like a painting prodigy who has like all these art openings.
Yeah, and like is being commissioned
Yeah.
by people in
Bought
this
a
town.
gallery with her own money. She's 8.
Okay, she's 8 years old,
Yeah.
everybody. Nev, she's 8. She's an 8-year-old child. And so then, because Angela is now creating this web of lies, really, where you see all the emails and it's being renovated and all these details, these really intense details about this warehouse space that she bought for this gallery. They Google it, guess what? Never under renovation. It's been vacant for 4 years. They call the realtor.
So I was calling about that space you have. I think it's 100 Main Street, or right, the LJC Penney. They just completely fabricated the entire renovation.
How long it's been empty?
4 years.
So now they know, but they're not letting on that they know. So the three of them have come together and they're like,
But I want to just stop and say that,
Yes.
like, to sort of like further to the point that like Nev did not, I cannot call him Nev. Like, it's Nev, guys. That's Nev. Like, that's just Nev.
and his real name is spelled Yaniv.
Exactly. The state rests. So Nev, he looks really devastated. And I think that it's also two things of like, he's really devastated and also trying, like, he must feel like the world's biggest dummy. And like trying
And he says it.
I can't believe I was so gullible. I'm so embarrassed.
And trying not to look heartbroken in front of his brother and his friend, because who falls in love with a person on the internet? You know what I mean? Meanwhile, I met my husband on the internet. But like,
Well, it's not 2008.
exactly.
But here's a question. When do you think, I'm sorry, I have to say, when do you think Rel and Henry were kind of like, let's just maybe not tell Nev that this is? Do you think there was a point where they were sort of just letting it happen?
I think that they're, as far as I can tell from a complete novice, like just a person who likes to watch documentaries, there are certain times that Nev is talking to the camera that I feel like they were like, do that again, or like maybe say it this way. But I don't know that I
Like
can.
when? Like what part specifically?
Like in the beginning
With the pizza?
Yeah. Oh, I can't. First of all, the first shot we see of Nev is like hair crawling out of his shirt. It's like crawling up his neck to envelop his face. And then he's eating a pizza or like a sandwich, just like chomping with his perfect teeth and his mouth open.
We'll get back to his perfect teeth.
His teeth are so, yeah, we will get back to his perfect teeth. But
And complaining. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do this. Blah, blah, blah.
But do you want to be the subject of this documentary or not?
No, I don't. It's about Abby.
You want to be the co-subject?
No, I don't see why. I don't think I'm that interesting.
You're like, okay, so then don't do it, Nev.
but my face is so gorgeous, I should be on camera.
But my teeth.
Exactly.
Damn it, the teeth.
Anyway, I think that like this is where the movie sort of becomes like an adventure film, because, you know, I'm not going to call him Ralph. Ariel says, like, what's the next move?
I don't know. What's the next move? Does anyone have any idea?
Yeah.
What?
I think we finish up with Vale. We drive to Michigan.
Okay.
And we just find out. We just go to their house.
Like,
And I
hello?
literally did the Arsenio Hall, like, yeah! Like, the
Yeah.
fist arm in the air, like, yeah, drive to Michigan.
Yeah,
You know?
Of course, because it's like you are discovering something. And at the time, this wasn't a thing that people were talking about people doing.
Right,
Which I
totally.
feel like we have to keep reiterating. In 2008, this was not, I know it was happening.
Yeah. But also just, like, road trip. Like, you're going to drive from, like, Colorado to, like, the north part of Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God. But before they leave Colorado, they get a phone call on a ski lift. And who's on the other end?
Abby.
The 8-year-old Abby.
Sort of.
Right.
Because Angela's panicking. Right. She's starting to know, because this is after the fight about the music.
Right.
So she's trying to sprinkle in, like, see, I'm totally real.
Yeah, totally.
No,
Meanwhile, these guys bring their cameras everywhere. They're on a ski lift. They've got their cameras.
Yeah.
They're like, Nev is like holding his like 2008 StarTAC to like as far out as he can to get the audio of them. But you hear this like little you cannot tell if it's like a crazy old lady making a little girl voice or if it's a little girl. And I still don't know. I still don't know if it was Abby or Angela.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. This is Abby.
Abby.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Really happy.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. I got a kitty doll for my birthday.
I think I'm leaning more towards Abby. I think there's a point to be made that it could be either way. But I think it's Abby because she was like, okay, bye. Like, she had no interest.
So what are you doing? You're having a big sleepover?
With my doll, yeah. I got to talk to somebody else. Bye.
Okay, wait. So they leave Colorado.
Right.
And the next thing we see is them like in a car. This is where it becomes like a road tripping horror movie because they're like in a car. It's late at night. They're driving down the highway. There's nobody around.
Yeah. It's just like the shot with the headlights.
Yeah.
Into
They've
the
got
darkness.
like super early aughts GPS with the suction cup to the window, to the windshield.
But not a webcam. Interesting.
But not a webcam.
All right, guys.
And you see them like, and the idea is that they're going to go to Megan's house first, and Megan lives like 50 miles downstate from where Angela and Abby live. So they're driving to Megan's house first, and as I gotta say, like as they're like we're 3 miles away, I like tensed up. Because I was like, what is going to happen?
Yeah, because at this point, you know that Megan's not who she says she is, but you don't know that it's...
Right. You don't know.
Like,
it could be anything. You know, like she could just be a liar. Like she could be the same person and just totally be a liar. We just don't know anything.
Right.
So they pull up to this like farm, and then like Nev has to like talk. Henry's driving. Thank you for having a normal name, Henry. Nev has to like convince Henry. So everyone is so scared. Like they're like Henry wants to back into the driveway so that he can like zoom out
in case. And he's like
the zombies come out of the
this like dilapidated farmhouse at 2 a.m.
This shouldn't give you the creeps. We're in like a beautiful part of the country. Horse farm. No. Pulling forward.
What?
What are you, crazy, Henry?
What do you mean?
Drive into the driveway.
What do you mean? Don't back into the driveway.
Don't back into it.
Why not?
Because then we can't see what's in front of us.
We know that it's the right address though, because before they go down the driveway, what happens?
They go this is so illegal. They go into her mailbox and find all the postcards that Nev has written, which he makes a good point. He's like, you're going to go through this elaborate lie and you're not even going to like pick up the postcards so you can talk to me about them.
Exactly. Like,
but then he like takes the postcards.
Right.
So even
and there's like an electricity bill in there too.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just going to take this. But that's like, not to split hairs, that's a federal offense, everybody. To just steal, even though they're his letters and this person is lying to them, there's our true crime right there.
And clearly you pull up to this farmhouse and there's not a soul in sight.
No.
But it does not make it any less terrifying when like they're driving the car on this long driveway towards this like white door of a barn, and you like it's just black all around them, and inside the barn you see the reflection of the car headlights in the windows, and it's scary.
Yeah,
like there's a part of me that's like, well, that's a cave of bodies for sure. There's a million bodies.
All gonna like wake up and come alive and come eat you in about 4 seconds.
It was scary, and then all of a sudden they're like, there's nothing here.
Yeah. And so then they're like armed with the postcards, right, and they're going to go surprise Angela for Sunday family breakfast,
which starts at
8 a.m. But I love how it's like they believe that happens too. They just trust her.
Totally.
Guess what? No family breakfast is happening.
Oh wait, can I tell you my favorite line in the entire movie?
Yes.
So they're all so scared to go down the driveway, and they're such hot nerds. They're like in the car and they're about to drive down the driveway, and Ariel goes,
I feel like we're about to get our SAT scores back.
Oh, guys, I'm so scared. I mean, it's like we're about to get our SAT scores back. That's to him
Are you
was what blind
kidding
terror
me?
feels like.
Yeah. Speaking of blind terror, do you want to get into the sexting?
So here's what happens. They've got a 50-mile drive to Angela's house. So they're going to stay at a hotel overnight. And then it gets super creepy.
I hate this part
So like
much.
it's so this I mean I honestly was like I'm gonna watch this because I have to see this, but it's really disturbing.
I have a lot of I get really embarrassed for people and the mortification sets in, and this is one of those things where like it was the same thing. We're talking about this. I have to watch this part.
Yeah.
But normally I can't even make a sentence. It really affects me.
Yeah,
I
know.
I can't handle
So
it.
at the end of the day, like, so Nev is like, so he says something to the effect of like, since we know that she's not real, do you want to hear like our steamy text exchanges? And I can't even remember them all.
No.
But it was said something about like cupping her breast.
I was just
can't
gonna
even,
say
like,
they're like it was like
My body is craving your touch tonight. Me. What exactly would you do if you had me there?
I'm gonna have to beg you
Yes.
to make love to me.
Begging you to make love to me. Me. Begging isn't something you would need to do. In fact, I'm willing to bet that if anything, you might have to beg me
Beg you
to
to
stop.
stop. It's so gross, like with the retainer in, and it's like this is such an intimate thing to share with your brother and also on camera, and you don't know what this is turning into,
And it's like
or who is sending you these messages.
I know. Meanwhile, the very best thing that could ever possibly happen is the final text in the exchange, which Nev says,
Happy 4th. Yay, freedom.
Happy 4th. Yay, freedom.
Yay. Which is like,
He does have the decency to be horrified and like pull the covers up over his face.
and then the rest of like half
His
of that conversation
perfect face.
with those teeth.
I know.
And half of the conversation is him under the covers, like through this nervous, mortified laughter.
Which is actually, I think, really fun filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because you get that, his life is basically falling apart, and it's still funny to him. Like, it's also ridiculous.
If you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
Right, exactly.
It's one of those situations where, like, you could get totally horrified and go into a hole and never talk to anybody again or turn the lights on or,
Right.
like, look at a computer.
So
or
one
you
of
could,
the
like, get
things-
to the bottom of it and laugh.
So after, like, the dirty, filthy, like, yay, freedom texts, they wake up the next morning, and, like, today's the day.
The day.
They're going to go to Angela's house.
Surprise her.
Because the idea, what Angela thinks they believe is that there's a family breakfast that happens at 8 a.m. and that everyone's going to be there.
Right.
Abby's going to be there. Angela's going to be there.
It's like it's like how Italians do Sunday dinner.
Right, it's
They
like-
have their 8 a.m. breakfast.
Exactly. And so, and this again, it was like really great filmmaking because it's scary. Like they're like driving over there and they are legit scared. Like they're, like they don't know who's going to be there, what they're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to the house and they're just like trying to figure out what to do. And like Henry's going to stay in the car. There's like a shot of them pulling over on the highway to like pick flowers.
Yeah.
To like bring to the house. And then they wire Nev up with like a remote mic so that we can hear him, but we can't. They don't have a camera, so like
They're like practicing hugging so that that you can't feel it.
So the camera's on the street, and Nev and Ariel are up at the door, and they're knocking and knocking, and no one's answering, and they're like, "Someone's in there."
There's somebody in the house.
Hello? Angela?
Yes.
Yanni?
Hi, nice
How are
to see
you?
you. Abby's not here.
One of the first things out of her mouth was, "Oh, Abby's not here."
Yeah.
And
this is a trend now. This
Yeah.
starts the trend of Angela, without even being asked, offering information
Right.
that's always in the negative.
Can we pause for 1 minute and say
Yes.
like how severely would you be shitting your pants if you had 15 Facebook profiles and you were like set up this elaborate lie and all of a sudden the person is on your doorstep? You had no prep time.
I would think that I would be losing my mind, but I would have to think that there's a part of me that would be like, well, today's the day.
Right. Totally.
Like it had to happen eventually.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
wasn't gonna, especially with this intimate conversation. Like he knows your address.
Yeah.
You have created this world that seems kind of real to Nev because Nev needed it. Let's also be honest. We'll get into how it relates to the imposter and how like sometimes people believe what they want to believe.
The thing is, finally, like they get a camera. I guess they get permission to film everybody, and like we learn a lot of things about this Angela woman real quick.
Yeah. And Ariel wants to leave, by the way.
Oh, Ariel is losing his mind.
And it's like the little subtitles. It's like, I want to leave. I want to leave. And Neve's like, no. And it's like, again, where's this guy with the mouthful of pizza who didn't want to be on camera? How the tables have turned.
I know. And like, I love that everyone's like, Ariel, you need to get your shit together, girl.
Come on.
Yeah.
This was your idea. You started this whole
We're going to go Sundance with this thing.
Henry's like, you're acting weird. Yeah. He's not even just like, but it's like, Henry wouldn't, like, aren't we all acting weird? This is a bizarre, insane situation. Everyone is acting weird.
The only one who's not acting weird is Angela.
Because she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing. She's right on par with her life.
The thing is, so we see Angela, right? And like, we've seen pictures of what we think Angela looks like before. I mean, obviously, like the pictures and the paintings are this like gorgeous bombshell young woman.
Like 28-year-old woman.
And this woman just looks like an average 40-year-old woman. Like nothing obviously is not the pictures, you know. She's just like an average looking 40-year-old woman with like a long braid. Mm-hmm. I literally had the thought of like, oh God, I have to learn how to French braid my kid's hair. Like that's what I thought when I saw her hair for the first time.
Priorities.
I know. But we learn right away that Angela lives with two very special needs kids, and her husband. Mm-hmm. And what is his name?
Vincent.
Vince. Yeah. Vince. And this is a little out of order, but can you explain what we learned about Vince right away? His level of knowledge. Vince
is like super excited to have house guests and is just like, where are y'all from? Like no acknowledgement of maybe why this is happening or how serious the situation is. He's just like super psyched that they dropped by.
So where you guys staying tonight?
Actually,
Meanwhile, Ariel is convinced that Vince is going to pull out a sledgehammer and just like knock his head off.
Right.
Yeah.
So we learn immediately that these twins, they're twin boys. I guess they're kind of around teenage age. They're fully dependent.
Yeah.
They are nonverbal. They are in diapers. That dependent. When I say fully dependent, totally.
And the footage of her caring for them, I could literally sob.
And they're not hers.
No, right. They're from his first marriage.
Yeah, which is also adds to the level of like what kind of caring.
Well, it just like adds another layer to this movie because it's so complex. It would be so easy to be like, okay, she lied about everything. She broke this kid's heart. She's a monster. And she just completely isn't. Like she's, you know, we see, I mean, but then, oh my God, one of the first things she says to Nev when he's like taking her picture is like,
I promise it's like a blown out,
picture with my hair.
it's like blown out sun. Why, you're going to cut your hair?
No, I started chemotherapy.
Oh no, when?
Last week.
What kind of, you have cancer?
I have uterine cancer.
Oh man, that sucks. I'm really sorry.
and you think that through the rest of the movie that she has uterine cancer, and then you find out at the end that was just another lie.
Yeah.
And so anyway, how it turns out is that Abby is real. She lives with Angela and
Vince.
Can't remember his name. Anyway, but like it's suspenseful finding out about Abby because Abby's not there, as like Angela says 5 times, and then she's like trying to call her in front of Nev, but like can't reach her. Then she goes inside, and all of a sudden she's on the phone with Abby, and I'm
it's
like,
super loud, where it's like, Abby,
right?
yoo-hoo, you have friends.
Well, so she's at a friend's house.
They're like at the beach or something. Yeah. And I'm super relieved that Abby exists.
Well, at this point, we still don't know. She's like, we're just going to drive down there and see.
It's like, oh, drive to their death. Awesome.
Right. But like that's when Ariel really is like, what have I gotten myself into?
We're not going. And they're like, we're going. Certainly are.
If we are buried in the sand underneath this house, we are going to get this story.
I mean, you want me to leave you?
I think you need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I think right now, yes, things are definitely weird, but I'm not.
Serious.
I don't.
You're acting weird.
So we get to the beach house where Abby is with a friend, and like she's there, and like Nev wastes no time getting a minute alone with Abby.
Mm-hmm. Abby has no time for it. Abby doesn't care. Abby's like a shy 8-year-old who's like, who is this person?
And meanwhile, we think that like Nev and Abby have been having this incredible correspondence.
Yeah.
Like she's the biggest fan.
This like cute little innocent, not weird. It really is not weird. Just like talking about her pets and just
she
her
like
artwork.
Does not know who this person is when she meets him.
You could see it on her face.
Yeah.
Like Angela didn't even prep her. I mean, again, it was a surprise.
Yeah.
But like, and then Nev or Ariel or someone asks her friend who's there, which is perfect. Her friend, they're like, "Oh, do you like Abby's paintings?" And the friend is like,
Abby, she doesn't really paint. Her mom paints a lot, but Abby doesn't paint that much.
Abby doesn't paint. Her mom paints all the time, but Abby like maybe draws with pens sometimes, and they're like, aha.
But then this is like one of the most disturbing things that happens. We both are having a moment about this.
I can't stop thinking about this idea.
Neve says to Abby, like, do you have a sister named Megan? Or something like that.
Or like, does your sister live here or
does
something?
Does she live with you? Yeah.
And Abby says, sort of just like oddly matter-of-factly, but she says, no, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I don't even know what she looks like. I don't even remember what she looks like.
Yeah.
I never get to talk to her, and I don't even know what she looks like anymore.
So they go to dinner and they go back to the hotel for the night.
And also Henry like can't believe that they're spending the night at the hotel and they're going to go back to the house tomorrow.
Yeah.
So then they wake up and it's going to be the next day.
Right. One of the things we learn about Neve, we learn about him the next morning. He wears red briefs. Why do we know this? Because he wakes up the next morning and he's just got to turn that camera on and give us some information. And he can't be bothered to put on a shirt or a pair of pants, which, listen, I'm not complaining. He looks good in his briefs, but oh my God, it's like, it's a lot. It's a little bit much. We do get interesting information. What do we find out?
It was all promises. Megan is going to be here. Megan is going to be here. And they were going to like have lunch or something. And then they wake up that morning and Neve has a message.
Now here's 2 texts that I woke up to from Megan Facio. I can't come home, Neve. I came here with Alex to get help. I have a drinking problem.
I can't make it to my mom's today. The real story is that I'm in rehab.
Yeah.
And she goes on Facebook, like checks into the rehab facility.
She did?
She posted, it was like, I am traveling to, there's like a little shot of that on her profile.
I totally missed that.
Yeah. And so they're saying that it's kind of a smart move. I don't really agree with them. I think it's a very obvious, desperate move of Angela.
Yeah.
But they say that it's a smart move because what are you going to say?
Right. And she's out of the picture. Like, whether you believe her or not, there's like, she's in rehab. She's not coming.
Right. And you can't be like, what kind of a monster does that make you to call bullshit on that?
Right.
Even though I would be like, show me her birth certificate then.
Yeah.
Like, show me something that proves that she's a real human.
Right. God, you're so smart. The birth certificate. What a great idea. So, at some point, they end up on a horse farm to watch Abby like go horseback riding, and Neve confronts the shit out of her.
Yeah, and he starts by saying, we have to talk when we get home, and then it just sort of spirals, and they have the conversation right then and there.
But you can imagine that at this point we've sort of put most of it together. Not everything, but pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And her first reaction is, again, this giggly, kind of shy, like, oh, yeah, no. And Eve's like, so we know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And she is no apology, no remorse, really. Just this shy, giggly situation, I guess. Like, is that how you describe her?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, she's just kind of like, it looks like she's like wants him to hug her. But it's kind of crazy that like Neve keeps it really low key.
That's all right. It's okay. Nothing to be upset about. Just, got a great imagination.
And then they end up back at the house. And like Neve is letting her like paint him, like draw him. And first, she takes us through all the Facebook profiles, and we see both cell phones. We see like the Megan cell phone and the her cell phone. She does the Megan voice for him.
He asks for that.
Yeah.
Just talk to you like Megan. And I don't know if I can get it like this.
It's cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
And tell you how much I wanted to meet you.
Which is like, I mean, I guess just if you're in that situation, like, I just need to see it. I just need to hear it.
I think that we forget that Neve is really suffering a little bit. I think that, like, I saw him in subsequent interviews talking about how, like, in his brain he was ready to give up his life in New York and, like, become, like, a rancher in Michigan.
Was talking about logistics in the movie about, like, if there's a physical attraction there, I mean, we would just, it would be an instant relationship.
So I think that, like, I think that he is really curbing his fury, his confusion, his like real sadness. I think we see Neve as a really complex guy.
Yeah, and we do see him sort of when she's doing the voice and incessantly complimenting his teeth while he's sitting there.
We need to talk about this.
Yeah,
she's like, she's like giving him direction. He's sitting there posing for her.
And he is not smiling because you could see it in his eyes. He's starting to well up a little bit.
Yeah.
And she says, how are you feeling? And he says, I just want to go home.
And she says, I feel really sorry for you, which is so enraging. You feel you're taking pity on me? You created this.
And like, I'm sorry for the pain I caused you, but not sorry for her actions.
Right.
Like
yeah.
she's sorry that he's upset, but not sorry that she made 15 different Facebook profiles. And then she starts crying about how she always wanted to be a dancer. And it's like, okay, well,
it needs to also
me too, Angela, but like,
and she's saying like, you know, she didn't realize how much she was giving up of her life to like take care of these boys. And that's when you really do feel for her because yeah, I mean, she is without her, but then in the back of my mind, I keep thinking she's got uterine cancer. What if she dies?
Right.
And who's going to take care of these kids?
Yeah.
And then you find out in the end, like, that was just a lie.
Right. She's also lying to her husband, saying that Nev is paying for all these photos.
So then is it Nev that goes to the husband and is like, what do you think is happening here?
I can't remember if it's Nev or
Somebody
Ariel.
goes to the husband, and his response is crazy.
Well, you are her primary customer.
Right.
Primary. Very happy with that relationship. In fact, in a sense, very appreciative of what you have done for her. Because not only is she a good artist, but it takes somebody that appreciates the art.
He's like, you know, we're really grateful to you. You're her number one patron. You know, you're paying for all these different, like, and meanwhile, I'm thinking, she's saying that she's making $7,000 or $8,000 per painting.
Right.
Where does he think the money is going?
Yeah, I mean, they're not living in the lap of luxury.
No, it's a nice house.
Yeah,
but
they're not living in a shithole, but
Right.
they're not like, if you're making $7,000-$8,000 for these sort of childlike looking paintings of horses
Right,
and Nev and Nev's
Yeah.
photos, then where is it all going?
You know, so in the end, the resolution is like, you know, they go back to New York, but they stay friends with her. They stay
Even after they know that the cancer was fake?
Yeah, in the end it says, you know, Nev has 752 Facebook friends. Angela is one of them.
Oh, I can name Facebook friends that I have that are not really my friends.
I guess so, but it wasn't like he like cut her out. It wasn't like he was like, you ruined my life.
Yeah.
You're a crazy person.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess you have to have a little bit of, it's a mental health issue.
Yeah, right.
You know, so you have to, again, like you said, you know, she doesn't have to be considered a monster.
Yeah.
She's a total sociopath, a psychopath, a narcissist. She's a lot of things, but they all fall under the mental health
Right, totally.
thing. And I think Nev needed it, just like we were talking about the imposter. You believe what you want to believe for a certain amount of time because you're a lonely person. You're getting attention about your art and your photography.
Yeah.
And I think they both sort of fed each other until it got too far.
You know, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the ethics of like, you know, Angela, once she understands that she's like found out, she was saying that like, I'm participating in this because I feel like I owe it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like subjecting her family to what must have been horrendous ridicule. Like when this movie came out, it was a hugely popular movie.
Yeah.
And her poor, you know, 8-year-old daughter, Abby, her poor husband, who like looks like a fool in the movie. Like as a viewer, you're like, this man believes.
Wake up.
But I mean, like, you know, I mean, if your spouse tells you something, you just believe it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then like for him to like, you know, what are the ethics involved with that? What do you think Abby's life was like the year that Catfish came out?
I mean, I think Abby comes out looking like another victim of this. I mean,
Sure.
there are scenes
But like
where
she lives with her crazy mother.
Totally.
And, you know, and in a home that is certainly chaotic and probably maybe something that like a 9 or 10-year-old girl wouldn't want the world knowing about.
Of course, for sure.
Like Angela made some of the poster artwork for the movie. Like she was out there selling her paintings after Catfish was over. And again, I want it to be stated that I do not see her as a monster. You know, that scene where she's talking about like what she's given up and how bored she is and how sad she is and how she feels like she has nothing. Like I'm not saying that I feel like I could be pushed to that point, but it really humanized her, especially when you see the way that she's caring for these two boys, whom without her, who would be doing it?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I can truly believe about Angela is that she takes care of those boys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the whole cancer thing, like that seemed legit.
Yeah, it did.
And then it wasn't. And it's like, okay, well, you can be sad. And it was very like vague reasons about why she's sad.
Yeah.
Like people get sad and lonely and depressed all the time.
Yeah, totally.
And I've never created a fake thing, let alone 15 of them. You know, it's just like you make a choice to deal with things in your life in a certain way. And she made a choice to include a ton of people in her depression or her sadness and then put it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Like if Nev didn't, get like a network deal from MTV out of this, if Nev was a different kind of person, that could really traumatize somebody.
For sure.
So,
but we also know that this happens all the time. Maybe not to this
constantly.
extent.
It can't anymore.
Yeah, right.
There's no way.
Thanks to Nev.
Thanks, Nev.
Nev Schulman is so hairy.
It's Nev.
Nev.
You can't get
give the people the info. Let's get out of here.
All right, truecrimeobsessed.com. All the links. Follow us on Twitter at truecrimeobsess, no ED. If you have anything that you want us to cover or just like fun things you want to tell us about, please email us truecrimeobsessed@gmail.com.
And if you want to do some homework for next week, we're going to be covering the new Netflix documentary Casting John Bonet, but you don't have to have seen it to enjoy the episode. Let's get an old school camera and go take pictures in my kids' room and see if we see any ghosts when we develop them in the dark room.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.